Hey guys, before we get started talking today about the Rams vs. Seahawks game, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the middle of January, and I'm currently coming out with at least 3 videos a week. So if you're interested in more NFL content, hit that watermark in the bottom right corner of today's video. With that said, let's dive right into the video, and I hope you enjoy. So congrats to the Seattle Seahawks on their win today against the Rams. Obviously, it clinches the division with their win today. They're going to be in the playoffs. And overall, this game was pretty sloppy in the first half on the offensive side of the football. There were a lot of flags. There was a roughing the punter at one point. There were a lot of false starts. It just wasn't a sound game. The defenses in this game were really good in that first half, and just a good, solid defensive showing from both teams. But let's start with the Seahawks after their win today. So it all starts with their defense in this win. I mean, they were fantastic. They limited this Rams team to only 9 points. They played a very, very good defensive game from the pass rush to the secondary. They just did an overall very good job. And let's start in that first half with Russell Wilson. I mean, this offense was just messy. Wilson missed a throw early to Jacob Hollister that should have been a touchdown in that first quarter. And there was really that lack of that deep ball that we've seen all year and really from throughout Russell Wilson's career. His ability to throw the deep ball really well to Lockett or Metcalf. In that first half, that wasn't there, and that was a reason why the Seahawks only ended up putting up 6 points on the board in that first half. They just were not good in that first half. They really couldn't get the ball moving deep. They didn't have any of those chunk plays. They really couldn't get the run game going either. There just wasn't enough offense for them to get the ball moving downfield. However, that all changed in the second half. That opening drive, Russell Wilson scrambled out to his right through a very, very deep ball, nice deep ball on the run to David Moore. That was a big catch to start the third quarter, and that just set the tone for the rest of that third quarter and for the rest of the second half, really, because after Russ made that throw, the offense opened up, and their ability to throw the deep ball really gave the underneath routes some ability too. So at the end of the day, that drive really allowed for Russell Wilson to keep coming and keep carrying that offense. I mean, he ended up scrambling for a touchdown later on in that drive to put the Seahawks up and up for good at that point. And in a way, this Seahawks team closed the game off via defense and throwing the football. And when it comes to the playoffs, defense is exactly what you want to end a game. And if you're the Seahawks in this scenario, you want to keep up that defensive intensity, but you need to get the ground game going. This ground game was not great today. I mean, Chris Carson was okay today. He averaged about 4 yards a carry, just above 4 yards a carry. And overall, I mean, like, they didn't really get him going that much. It just wasn't a big offensive outpour on the run game, and that's something that they're going to need moving forward, especially moving into the playoffs where the importance of the ground game cannot be overstated and overstressed. So that's the offensive side of the football. They did a very good job at the end of the game, throwing the football to close out the game to Lockett, to Metcalf, game-winning touchdown to Jacob Hollister. So at the end of the day, good job for the Seahawks team, but it really comes down to their defense, and it all starts with the run defense. This run defense was very, very good overall, especially on their third quarter goal line stand, where they stopped the Rams 4 times from rushing the football in the end zone. And that started from that big Jamal Adams tackle. He had a massive tackle on Darrell Henderson, who is the Rams' leading rusher today. So Darrell Henderson, he did a good job for the Rams, but Jamal Adams had a big tackle, big touchdown-saving tackle that set up that big goal line stand for the Seahawks defense. So overall, this defense was so good, and it's been really good ever since Carlos Dunlap came over via trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, the tackling today was pretty good. There were a few miscues. I mean, Tyler Higbee had a big play where he broke a tackle and ran for about 20 yards or something like that. But overall, the tackling was pretty good, and that's something that you need to be good at against this Rams team, where they have guys like Kupp and Robert Woods who are elite after the catch. Those guys are among the best in the NFL when it comes to yards after the catch and breaking off defenders and bouncing off defenders and really getting the football downfield. So really good job by the Seahawks defense. They were very, very good at just being suffocating all day. I mean, Jared Goff did not have a good game. And when we talk about Jared Goff and the Rams, with this loss today, they moved to 9-6, and they're going to need a win next week to get into the playoffs. There are a few other scenarios where they could clinch a playoff spot. I think if the Bears or the Cardinals ended up losing next week, they would be in based off of their record. But this is going to be a wild card team probably. They're going to need a win or they're going to need some luck to get in. But if Jared Goff continues playing like this, I mean, they're going to bounce out in the first round. I mean, he looked indecisive today, to say the least, especially on third down where he didn't really know where to go to the football. Most of the time, it ended up being Kupp who ended up catching footballs. But I mean, overall, Goff just looked more of what he did last week against the Jets, where he just did not look comfortable. He didn't look like he was that great quarterback, that franchise quarterback for this Rams team. And don't get me wrong, Goff has been really good this season at times this season, but in certain games like last week and today, he just wasn't there for this Rams team. He ended up going 24 for 43 for 234 yards and an interception. That interception was to Quandre Diggs. He just overthrew Robert Woods on a dump, but it looked like it was going to no one. I mean, he just didn't look like he was making the right reads in the right place. On the other hand, Kupp was fantastic today. 8 catches for 66 yards, and seemingly every time it was third down, a crucial third down, the ball was going to him and he was making a play. So good job for him, and that's going to be something that the Rams are going to need to keep up, finding him in open space, especially on third down, to continue that offensive efficiency. Also, the run game just looked blah. I mean, Darrell Henderson had 12 carries for 62 yards before getting injured. Malcolm Brown had 7 carries for 27 yards. I mean, it just did not look good on the ground for this Rams team. And although Seattle did play the run very well, they're going to need to be able to get the run game going, to get the play action game going, to get the passing game going for this Rams team moving forward. Defensively, this team was good, but I just want to talk about their sloppiness on offense too. They also had multiple fumbles. They ended up recovering both. Jared Goff had a fumble on the goal line. He ended up recovering that. They didn't score there, which was a big mishap for them. They also had a punt return where they fumbled. They ended up recovering that, but it's just sloppy. Their game today was sloppy, and they're going to need to tighten those sloppy areas up moving into next week. Also, on the defense side of the football, Aaron Donald is so good at what he does. I mean, his effect allows for the other defensive linemen to get to the quarterback. There was an instance earlier in the game where he got double teamed and the defensive tackle came in and was able to sack Russell Wilson. That is crucial. If Aaron Donald's able to be just as effective, and as he has been over the past few years, this Rams defense is going to continue to thrive. Plus, with the guys they have on the back end, with guys like Jalen Ramsey and Fuller and Johnson and Darius Williams in the back end, they're going to be really good. I mean, this defense is really stingy, really good. I think it's a Super Bowl playoff defense. I mean, it's a solid defense and with a good offense too. I mean, this offense is one of the better offenses in the NFL. They didn't look like that today. Seahawks played them very well. They could make some noise in the playoffs, but they've got some stuff to fix. Overall, though, some of the takeaways from this game, they can keep that defensive efficiency up and work on moving the ball down the field via the run, via the pass, marrying the two together. We didn't see enough of that today. It was really Goff's arm that let this Rams team down. He just did not do enough, and what he was doing just wasn't working. So overall, this Rams team has a lot to think about, a lot to work on. They're going to still need to be able to get into the playoffs next week, either with a win or with Chicago or Arizona losing. But overall, I mean, good game from the Seahawks. Their defense looks really good, and if their offense can continue to play like it did in that second half, then they're going to have a chance when it comes to the playoffs. They've been a little bit inconsistent at times this season, and that first half and parts of that second half were more inconsistencies from them. But defensively, they look as good as ever, and it's going to be very exciting for the Seattle team in the playoffs. And that's going to end the video for today. Before you leave, please drop a like and a sub. That would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. I'm currently posting 3 videos a week. So if you're interested in more football content for the remainder of the season, please feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, see ya.